I want to welcome you to the Self-Made Podcast. I'm your host, Haas Pratt. Self-Made Podcast is where entrepreneurs come to learn how to get an edge and dominate their niche. So I want to welcome you to today's jam-packed podcast. Today's all about, we're going to do it a little bit different. Most of the time in Self-Made, we have interviews of other renegade entrepreneurs that come in and allow me to pick their brain, dig deep to find out how they've achieved extraordinary results in their business and life. But today I want to take a step back and tell you why I've started this podcast, why I do it, who I am, where I came from, and all of that good stuff, and where the self-made name really came from and what self-made really means. And so I want to share that with you. Now, the reason that I started this podcast, The Self-Made, it's to help people break through to the next level in their life and business. No, self-made is not something that we think, a mindset we go out there and we think we could just do anything. It's all on us and we don't rely on anybody else. That couldn't be further from the truth. Being a self-made entrepreneur, a self-made person means that you succeed at every level, you grow at every level, and you become the person you need to become in this life. And that's what being self-made is as an entrepreneur. It's growing, not relying on anyone or any individual or any one thing, but the one person in the mirror. And your success is truly up to you. Being self-made is being guided to the next level, doing what it takes, not relying on anything other than ourselves, and using resources and people and other tools to be able, on our journey to the top, be able to help equip us to get there. And that's what self-made is. So I want to share with you kind of my life and my story as I can package it up as quickly as possible, but explain to you kind of where this whole mindset came from. You see, I believe that you can achieve anything in life and business if you have the right mindset, you have models to follow, and you take massive action. And that's really the self-made blueprint. It's mindset, models, and massive action. And so my hope for you is to get out of this podcast is to have an unbelievable mindset where your mindset increases, your positivity increases, your ability to be tough mentally increases. Next is models. I'm going to give you many models that work, models that grow your business, models that help you make money, models that will lead you to freedom, models that will help you succeed more, models. And that's what my guests will be here for. They're simply a model. You know, me, I'm a model. This podcast is a model for you to follow. But lastly is you got to take the third step, which is up to you, which is taking massive action. Being self-made requires you to take massive action. Not relying on anyone but yourself requires you to go take massive action. So my hope for you during this podcast, as you learn from me, you learn from my guests, you learn from other renegade entrepreneurs out there trying to make big things happen, that you're inspired by the stories, you're inspired by the models you see, and you're so inspired that you go out and you take more massive action than you have ever before following the proven models you get out of this podcast with the right mindset. And that's what self-made is. I want to take you back where I came from. I grew up in Northwest Missouri, barely made it through high school. I didn't go to college. It was brutal. I grew up working on a dairy farm. I never worked for anybody in my life up until this point. And so, but the thing that I had, thankfully, was a mentor, and his name was Jimbo. And Jimbo was a millionaire. And Jimbo, whenever I was in my teens, he took me under his wing. He taught me a lot of what I'm going to share with you. He taught me about mindset. He taught me about business. He taught me about being an entrepreneur. He taught me about being self-made. You see, Jimbo's grandparents invented the hay baler, and he was really wealthy. And for whatever reason, he took me under his wing. Like he just did. Like he poured into me, and we became really, really tight. And so Jimbo says, Haas, I want to help you. And I was like, I want help. I want to live legendary, Jimbo. I don't want to be like everybody else. I'm different than everybody else. I feel it. I said, the things that I'm interested in are different than the things that my friends are interested in, Jimbo. I said, teach me, and I will take the action. Whatever you tell me, do it. I'm not going to college, so I've got to be self-made because I'm not going to rely on anybody to hire me. I barely made it through high school, so I never loved school. What was I? I was an entrepreneur. And a lot of you are entrepreneurs. And as an entrepreneur, we are different. We got to think different. If you're not an entrepreneur or you want to be an entrepreneur, then you got to think different. And Jimbo knew this. And so Jimbo gave me a series of pieces of advice I want to share with you. the first thing that Jimbo said whenever I was a teenager, Jimbo said, Haas, you've got to start a business because profits are better than wages. And I was like, Jimbo, how do I start a business? I don't have any money. I don't even know where to start. He said, you'll figure it out. So I went home that night. I was thinking about what I need to do and how I need to start a business. And growing up in Missouri, there's a lot of lawn services up there. So I've always enjoyed mowing grass. I always mowed my neighbors' lawns for money and that type of thing. So I started Pratt Lawns in high school. And what I did is I grabbed the white pages of the phone book. I started calling down each line. Hey, this is Haas Pratt with Pratt Lawns, calling to give you an estimate on your lawn care this spring. And I made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls to the point where whenever I was a teenager, my first year, I was mowing 100 lawns a week. I didn't even own a single lawnmower at the time. I had to go get my first business loan. And I had to do these things. So you'll hear more about these stories that I've experienced, but I want to fast forward to where that took me and how every journey there was a purpose and every level there was a purpose. And so I did Pratt Lawns for years. I was making six figures in Missouri. And Jimbo says, Haas, this is great. You're doing good, but now it's time for the next step. And I said, Jimbo, well, what do I do next? And he says, you need to move. I'm like, move? I was like, where? Like, why would I move? I just established a business. I'm doing well. He said, because you become a product of your environment. And so you must relocate. And I said, what do you mean, Jimbo? He says, Haas, you grew up in this place. This is all you knew. You know that to you that this is your world. And this is a small world in Northwest Missouri, brother. So you're going to get the hell out of here. It's exactly what he told me. I said, where do I go? He said, you moved to Texas. I'm like, where in Texas? He says, you moved to Dallas, Texas. He literally, from the air, gave that to me. And looking back, by the way, on where I am now in my life, it's funny how people like that come into our life at the right moment, that give us the right piece of advice, the right direction in that moment, and we choose to take massive action. And the difference in the trajectory of our life and how it's changed in that instant. So do we have those people in our life? People like Jimbo that are always pouring into us, always stretching us, always helping us reach a new level. And so I told Jimbo I said, I'll move, Jimbo. And he said, and I've never been on an airplane at this time. And Jimbo says, well, it's time to get on an airplane. We got to go. I'm like, where are we going? He says, we're going to Texas. We're going to go visit. So it was in August in Dallas, and we fly down here, and we're driving around. He says, what do you think? I'm like, this place is pretty nice. It's a little hot, but it's nice. And he said, what's the date? I was like, what do you mean? He goes, set the date right now. When are you moving here? I'm like, I don't know, Jimbo. I got to sell my business. I got to do all this. He goes, we'll do it right now. Make the call. Call your brother. So I called my brother. I said, hey, I'm moving to Texas on November 15th. You got first right of refusal to take my lawn service. He says, I'm in, Haas. I'll take it. And so the plan was established. We set forward. We flew back to Missouri. I trained my brother. And on November 15th, I loaded up my F-350 truck with my suitcase and my TV. And I went southbound 35, and I moved to Dallas, Texas, a farm boy from Missouri, a market where I didn't know anybody, no degree, not a single person here that I knew, nothing. That's self-made, and that's what self-made's about. It's about being self-made in the times that we got to rise to the occasion and owning our success. You see, I wanted success so bad that Jimbo saw it. He put those challenges in front of me to see if I would do it, and I did everything that he said. And in that process, I grew, and I had to grow. Because if I wanted to succeed, I had to grow into a different person than what I was then, that old farm boy from Missouri that was mowing grass. And so I moved to Texas, and Jimbo told me to get into real estate. And so I was getting my real estate license. And while I was doing that, I got a job going door to door as a door-to-door salesman. And I got my license. And once I got my real estate license, here's what happened. So I remember I was in my early 20s. I got my license. I'm active. I'm a realtor. And I start selling, and I get into the business, and I failed miserably at it. It was brutal. I remember my first 6 months selling real estate. I didn't list a single house. I didn't work a single buyer. I blew $50,000. I mean, on God only knows what, but I blew it. It was gone. I remember having a conversation with Jimbo 6 months in, thinking, Jimbo, I think I made a mistake, dude. This is like not working. I've lost all the money I saved. I'm not succeeding. I had a good thing going, but you told me to move here for whatever reason, and now I'm here, and now everything's going south. You see, sometimes to take a massive leap forward, we got to take a couple steps back. And so on our journey, we got to be willing to do that at each level, maybe to surrender, to submit, right? To maybe be humble because of a situation that we're in. And so what I did is this, Jimbo says, Hosh, you need to hire a coach and you need to learn this thing in real estate. So I hired a marketing coach and he taught me marketing. He taught me everything I knew in marketing. And long story short, I ended up my first year of real estate, rookie of the year. I was listing 30 homes every single month. And I became one of the top real estate agents in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it quite fast, quite honestly. And people want to know what I was doing. And so I was going every day. I was going in. I was selling real estate. I was crushing it, dominating. It was a lot of fun. I was growing. I was hiring people. I was working with tons of clients, and I was growing as an entrepreneur. And then I did that for 5 years. And I had a guy that wanted to buy me out. He wanted to buy my real estate business. And so I went to Jimbo and I said, Jimbo, this guy wants to buy my real estate business. He says, that's great, Oz. He goes, because now's the time for the third piece of advice. I said, what's that? He said, sell it and help other people. And Jimbo told me, he says, go sell it to him. And then I want you to go teach other people what I've taught you. I want you to go teach other people what you've learned along the way. And I want you to go make an impact in this world because that's the purpose of your life, Hoss. And he gave me that. And so I sold my real estate company. And for the next 2 years, and I'm in my late, maybe mid-20s, and I hit the road. And I started doing seminars, teaching people how to sell more homes, how to become a better marketer, how to become a better salesperson, what to say, when to say, how to say it, all these things, how to follow an proven schedule to have an effective day, and all these things. And so I spent years, 200 days a year on the road helping people. I've done over 1,000 seminars in 48 states. I have over 5,500 hours of coaching agents, entrepreneurs, salespeople around the country, helping them go from stuck to unstuck, from successful to thriving, helping them identify the distinctions that's going to take them to that next level, help them become more self-made, reliant less on other people, more reliant on their own growth. And so that's what been my mission. And for the last 10 years, that's literally what I've done is I've helped all these people do the same, help them generate millions of dollars in revenue. And that's what I want to do with this podcast is to help you see the distinctions in the people that are self-made, the distinctions in the people that thrive at high levels. And what you're going to find that a lot of the stories kind of intertwine. You're going to find a lot of similarities in the stories because I'm not going to mess around with just anybody. We're going to bring in the best, and I'm going to have the best people share the best stories, and I'm going to dig in deep to find what challenges they faced and how they overcame them and how they built the business and how they ended up doing the next thing that they wanted to do and what held them back. And so self-made is going to be all about that. You're going to learn from different people, not only in my life, but my clients, and how I've helped other people go from maybe failing to succeeding and what we focused on. But here's what you're going to find. You're going to find in this podcast is you're going to find the model. And the self-made model, the self-made formula is it's mindset, models, and massive action. And that's what I hope to teach you, to help equip you with is to how to achieve these things, to be able to succeed on your own at all costs. Now, I want you to think about what that means. I'm reminded of a bamboo tree. And the bamboo is an interesting plant, and it's one that takes forever to grow. And you see, to be self-made, you have to be like a bamboo plant. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say, and I like farming because I grew up in Missouri working on farms in a rural area. So let's just say I want to plant bamboo. I don't know why the hell you'd want to do that, but let's just say you do. Now, here's how it works. Let's say I have a bamboo seed, and I take the bamboo seed and I go plant it. Here's what happens. I go water the seed. I nourish the seed. I'm cultivating it every day. Let's say I go out there every day and I water it. After a year, I'm going to get frustrated because I don't see any fruits of my labor. I don't see anything happening. But I stay consistent and I keep my mindset right and I keep at it at year 2. And year 2, I'm sticking at it. I'm still watering it, cultivating it, fertilizing it, nourishing it. I'm growing this thing. Year 3, still nothing has grown. I'm getting frustrated. Year 4, nothing's grown. I'm about to throw in the towel. Then here comes but after year 4, I'm still consistent in helping this tree grow. And I'm watering it, nourishing it, cultivating it. And here's what happens. One day I walk out after 5 years of hard work, of doing what it takes, of being consistent. And I see a little leaf at the top of the ground, just like that. Wow, there it is. Look at this, the bamboo, it's growing. And then I come back the next day and this thing is 18 feet tall because it grows super fast. And then the next day I come out and it's grown even higher. And you wouldn't look at this plant and you think, wow, look at this thing. It's like an overnight success. Look at this. I mean, look how fast it's growing. But here's the thing. For the last 5 years, that bamboo tree's been growing roots, deep roots. That's what I want you to think of self-made as, is we got to grow roots. Because to be self-made, we got to have roots. Now, what does roots mean? Well, oftentimes it may mean a skill set. It may mean that you have skill sets that you have that nobody can take away from you. And so there is no such thing as an overnight success because you don't see the work that was put in. And to be self-made, you've got to have that mentality. You got to go do the work when everybody else is talking. And that's what you're going to learn throughout this entire series of this podcast, is you're going to see that happen time and time again. How the entrepreneur that succeeded at a high level went in the cave, did the work when everybody was talking, and guess what happened? Out came the product, out came the skill, out came a different mindset, and everything changed. So look at our success and being self-made like the bamboo tree. We're going to do the work. We're going to do whatever it takes to experience success long term. And that's really my goal for you. It's not just get the next magic pill, the thing that's going to make you succeed. It's to develop yourself in a way that you can succeed on your own no matter what. You don't need anything but yourself to go out there and achieve at a very, very high level. And that's what this podcast is all about. And I'm excited to share with you all the different stories, not only in my own life of being an entrepreneur my whole life and helping thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs generate millions of dollars in revenue and reach the next levels of their business and achieve more freedom in their life than ever before. But you're going to hear entrepreneurs that are going to come in and you're going to be inspired. And they're going to share with you the models that they followed, the models that will help you succeed. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to go out there to take massive action. And that's what being self-made is taking the massive action, doing what it takes. Are you willing to do what it takes? You see, my guess is you are. My guess is all of you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast right now. The question is maybe you're struggling. Maybe you're not achieving the results you want. Maybe you feel like you're falling backwards instead of moving forwards. The question is what models are you following? Because you got to have the models in your business if we're going to reach new levels. And that's what Self-Made Podcast is all about. So buckle up. This is going to be a fun ride. I want to welcome you to this podcast, and I want to thank you for joining me. Again, my name's Haas Pratt. Get ready because this podcast is going to be a wild ride. So welcome to the Self-Made Podcast. Looking forward to seeing you on the other side. You guys go out there and take massive action and take care.